I don't have my camera set up right now.
Okay.
Let's see if I can.
You're still here. I think it counts.
Yeah.
Is that?
We could hear you.
Okay, and just to let you know, we are live now.
All right.
Okay, so it is 6:31. All right, let me go ahead. The meeting will be conducted by Vice Chair Joe Ponce, and I will be sharing my screen to show the agenda. Okay, so I'm gonna do that now. Let me just get all.
Just a reminder, Julian, we do need to take roll call after every motion.
Yes. Okay, so let me just go ahead and share my screen now. Let's see if that is. Okay, so you are seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, and is it the full screen of the agenda or half of it?
It's partial, but that's okay. We can, if you can just scroll down on there, we can go by it.
Go ahead and move it over like this. Okay. And now we could go ahead and start. You could start conducting the meeting, Joe.
Okay, thank you so much, Julian. Linda, can we call to order roll call? It's 6:33 now.
Okay, good evening, commissioners and city staff. I'm gonna go ahead and conduct the roll call at this time. And we have the Commissioner, Vice Chair Joe Ponce,
Here.
Commissioner Sadie Navarro,
Here?
Commissioner Jason Hayes,
Here.
and let the record show that Commissioner Sandy Richards and Commissioner Nina Herrera did call in advance to say they're not going to be available tonight.
Thank you, Linda. Let's go ahead with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll go ahead and lead it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
And
One nation.
one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
I move to accept the agenda.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, thank you.
So for the roll call, Commissioner Hayes motion to approve the agenda, Commissioner Navarro second that agenda, and I'll go ahead and go through the roll call. Commissioner Joe Ponce,
Do we have any, so also move to any public statements?
for tonight, we did not receive any public statements.
Okay. Okay, then we'll just move forward with the consent calendar. Well, let's go back with the Culture Arts Liaison Report.
And we do not have any of the representatives of under cultural arts liaisons tonight.
Okay. Julian, can you scroll it down just a little bit, please? Thank you. Should we just move on to new business?
Yes.
If I may, under the consent calendar, we do have.
Oh, I missed that. I'm sorry.
Okay, but we do need to table those due to lack of quorum. So we could table both of those minutes for January 14th, 2020 and February 11th, 2020 until our next meeting.
Question real quick.
Go ahead, Jason.
Out of the 5, we have 3 commissioners here. Is that not quorum?
A quorum for that were present at those meetings. So 3 people need to be present on those dates.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
So Linda, what do we need to do to move forward with the consent calendars? Do you want to put those on
Yes, if we can table until our next meeting in July. So we just table.
and that would be the everything on the consent calendar, correct?
Yes. And then we can.
So if I can get a motion to
To postpone the vote?
Yeah, to postpone what's on the consent calendar for our next meeting.
I move to postpone the consent calendar vote to the July 14th.
I second the motion.
Okay, and then I'll go through the roll call. Commissioner Hayes, you're a yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Navarro
Yes.
and Commissioner Ponce.
Yes. Okay, so we can move now to the new business.
Okay. Vice Chair Ponce and other commissioners would like to talk about the Prop 68 grant. You may have heard that the city did get awarded a grant for the renovation of Lane Park. And it is a $1.1 million grant that is going to allow for the renovation of the park. We're going to basically turn it upside down and put all new amenities. The features that are going to go in, we're going to build in a youth soccer field that's going to be an artificial turf. We are going to install a new basketball court, that's going to be a full court. We are going to install a bathroom on site. Currently, it does not have a bathroom. So we're going to do that. And we're going to renovate the play area to include ADA accessibility and shading. Other amenities include shading along the picnic tables, improving the irrigation of the park to include smart irrigation, meaning that there would be sensors in the irrigation system to water the ground when needed. We're going to put in new landscaping that's native to the surrounding area and drought tolerant. We're going to plant some trees. We're going to put fencing along the alleyways to for a safety feature. And we're going to, well, I think that's about it in all the grant. Oh, we're also going to put in electrical lighting for the courts and powered by solar panels that we're going to put on top of the restroom building. So we are really happy about this grant. We're in the process of getting all the paperwork done. We did sign the contract already, and the next step is to look for a landscape architect design to actually include all these amenities into the park. They'll do a design for all the amenities and also do a engineering cost estimate for what the project will cost. Once we have that completed, then we will go out to bid to for a contractor to come and build the amenities. I anticipate the design phase will probably go into August, September to get a contract and get all the documents done. And then about somewhere around October, November, we'll go out to bid for the contractor. So we're really excited about the Lane Park being renovated. It's a small park in the community, but it's the two events that we had there were well attended. A lot of people came out from the surrounding neighborhood. There's an apartment complex just to the south of it, and a neighborhood the north and west, east of the park. So we're really excited about the particular program. Answer any particular questions you might have regarding the grant award.
Commissioner Jason, do you have any questions?
No questions. That sounds really exciting.
Commissioner Sadie, do you have any questions?
No questions, and I agree with Jason. It sounds like it's going to be awesome with everything that they're going to be putting in. I'm very excited for it.
The only thing I just have, I think that is great. I'm so happy that we got the grant. I know Lane Park will definitely need it. It just sounds like there's going to be a lot of upgrades to the park, which is really going to, it's going to really enhance that park there. and I'm sure that the community is really going to enjoy that.
Yes.
I do have one question. That was a what was it, 1.2 or 1.6?
$1 million.
Will there be, after all of the upgrades have been done, do you foresee anything being left over that maybe we can put into one of the other parks, or does it have to all go into Lane Park?
Unfortunately, all the money has to go to Lane Park. If there's any money back, we need to go give it back to the state. At that time, the state may decide to give it to us and repurpose the funds, but it's highly unlikely. What's going to happen is there's going to be another grant cycle. So if any money that was not used, we probably return back to the state, and that money would be put back into the pool for an additional cycle when that comes around.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go to, we can go to item number 3, departments to respond to COVID-19.
Okay. Well, in the midst of the COVID-19, our initial response was to follow what the County of Los Angeles Department of Public Health guidelines were putting out. And we abide by the guidelines and the Safer at Home order that was put out early March. So all of our programs were postponed or canceled for up to now. We have had refunded all the funds unless they can chose to keep it on credit for their use when it eventually we open up again. We had all our senior programming, our senior lunch programming, the trips, everything were canceled. All our leisure classes, our exercise, the Fit Pass program, the senior exercise classes, the hiking programs were canceled. And needless to say, it really affected our department a lot because we couldn't have activities in the parks or in our buildings. But as slowly as we're starting to recover, we're getting more guidelines from the county. So I'm going to share another screen with you to show you what particular items are starting to reopen. Right now, it's in phase 2, and the prediction or the anticipation of a phase 3 to open that will allow additional activities to open up. So let me go ahead and open up that screen so you could see it. Are you able to see my screen here?
I'm able to see your screen, but I still have the agenda on there.
I'm sorry, then let me change that. Okay, so then.
You may have to close this screen,
Yes,
Julian, and open up.
Let me stop this one here. All right, so then let me share where is it? No, that's not it. I'm trying to find it, hold on, please. Okay. No, I can't seem to get it. Well, here it is. Okay, I'm going to share it now. Share. Okay. So this is the recommendations from the LA County Department of Parks and Rec that they're going to make to the LA County Department of Public Health, who governs the Safer at Home order, and will take recommendations to the other cities. So hopefully that they would follow the recommendations. So this screen is telling you that in phase 3, there's going to be a possibility of summer camps, general recreation, and senior program activities to allow to reopen. However, they are going to have to abide by the restrictions being recommended. And these are the bullet points. I won't go to them point by point, but just to highlight some of the important ones that will allow us to reopen. In particular, the first bullet, which is a 12-to-1 ratio, that if we could maintain a 12-to-1 ratio of participants in our programming, excuse me, then we would, like for example, our senior lunch program, if we can maintain a ratio of 12-to-1, then we could open up that particular program. Our day camps, our other programs that we have, our exercise programs, and so forth, then we would be allowed to move forward. Another important aspect is the face coverings at all times, except when people are eating or taking breaks, and that our participants must provide their own PPEs in order to participate. For example, we have instructors that lead classes. So if they're leading a class, then they would need to provide their own face shield, their masks, and gloves. The city is looking into acquiring that equipment to allow our instructors and our volunteers to provide it. But at this moment, we haven't had a confirmation that we will have that equipment available. Participants must also, wear masks and at all times while participating in the program. The social distancing of 6 feet apart must always be maintained. In our more kind of a passive programs, that's a lot easier because we could space out the tables and chairs to maintain that social distancing. The tricky part is going to be when we start implementing the exercise programs to make sure that the participant is within that particular that distance, that it does not infringe on another person's area. The outside activities are going to be a lot easier because there's more room and more room to spread out. So that's going to be a lot easier programs and activities to do there. Cleaning maintaining the building after use is going to be a very important aspect of the programming. So we are developing plans to have staff clean the facility while people are using the facility and then after the use of activity. So we are developing plans to reopen various facilities, various programs, so that way we maintain the safe and healthy aspect of the COVID-19, preventing the spread of it. Like again, there's all the bullet points here. It's maintaining and cleaning guidelines. We have a set of these. These are what are being recommended. We're adopting some, and some will probably use our own facilities, public works recommendations, the equipment, what we'll be cleaning after use and so forth, the lunch program, how it will be consumed. So there's a whole list of activities and programs, or excuse me, recommendations of how to maintain and to clean the facilities while being in use and then right after. The monitoring is another important aspect of the reopening guidelines, is how are we going to monitor the individuals who are on site. So this is also going to be part of our plan, and how we're going to keep the distance, how we're going to have the instructors, the staff, and so forth. So staff is really working hard on developing those plans. So when this becomes in effect, then we would be able to open up the buildings. We have not everything in the recommendations by the county we have. So I'll just look at the various activities that are applicable to the city of San Fernando. Gyms, we definitely have gyms. and the sports programs that are involved in gyms. At this moment, for stage 3, they're not recommending team sports. They're just recommending individual play. Individuals of the same household could have games together, but not like pickup games, not scheduled games, anything like that. But they could have, dribbling, shooting around where they have access to the indoor courts. Longest they maintain a physical distance between players. If there's a high demand, then there is a time limit that individuals will be given, and that is also be part of the plan that we'll be developing when we do allow the gyms to open up. The same thing has to be with the maintenance protocols of cleaning the facility while in use, and during use and sanitizing the areas. We are not going to be allowing, or we're not going to be providing any equipment for these for the gym. All patrons would have to bring their own basketball, and this also applies for volleyball. If the people want to play volleyball, again, if they're the same household, they could do that. They could do some practicing, they could do some drills, but no actual games between individuals of the community. Nature centers, we don't have any. Campgrounds, we don't have any. Lake swim beaches, we don't have any. Skate parks, nope. Concession stands, nope. Batting cages, nope. All that we don't have. Splash pads, we don't have. Volleyball and basketball, again, it tells you what the protocol for each particular sport is going to be. These are going to be allowed in the gyms. Each sport will have a designated day so they can participate in the particular game and the activity. Multi-field sports, we do have those. Our basketball, our ball fields and our multi-fields at Las Palmas and at Recreation Park. So members of the same household will be allowed to observe the physical distance, with other groups. Again, face coverings must be worn. Coaches and players must observe the physical distance. So this is going to be a little tricky when we have partners like the San Fernando Little League and maybe rental groups or other leagues that use our facilities. We must ask them of their particular plans of how they're going to implement the sport. So like Little League, use of dugouts, how they're going to be able to limit the people inside the dugout to ensure that there's 6 feet between players. The ball diamonds, the bleachers are going to be cordoned off if we cannot maintain the particular 6 foot distance. So that's going to be kind of hard. Maybe it would be every other row or designate where people could sit so that they could be used. Individuals will have to bring in their own drinking water. We're not going to have encourage or promote the sharing of water or snacks or anything like that. They're going to have to bring their own equipment, like balls and bats. Each player should have their own equipment and not necessarily be sharing that equipment. So there is a lot of restrictions with the reopening, but all these restrictions are going to be incorporated or ask the leagues or the teams that are using our facilities to develop a reopening plan, so we'll know that they understand what these restrictions are. And all these restrictions will be shared with all our partners and all our individuals that use our facilities, so they're aware that these are the guidelines. Now, these have been developed by various agencies, cities, and the county to recommend to the Department of Public Health. The Department of Public Health will make the final call on all these guidelines, and That guideline will be out as soon as they're ready to provide it to the public. We anticipate that they're thinking of reopening. This will be the phase 3. They're reopening sometime in July, and they would hand out or put out a new guidelines for all the facilities that pertain to the recreation department or the profession. Again, it tells you what you should be doing, how you clean it, how you maintain, how you're going to monitor all your sports fields. We don't actively program the field anymore. This is done by LA County. So, but there's guidelines on how that, how all pool facility will reopen. And those are it. Like I said, that the playgrounds, excuse me, yeah. So we have the playgrounds and fitness zones. We do have those, and again, they give us what the guidelines and the restrictions are for the playgrounds and fitness zones, maintenance protocol and monitoring protocols. Now, the feel is that this particular amenity are a little bit harder to monitor. It's going to be hard to keep kids from gathering on a playground and the fitness zone. The machines are a little closer to each other. So they're kind of recommending that these particular amenities be open at a later phase, possibly a phase 5 or a 6 when these open up. So these are, they're not recommending to open up these soon. So those are further down, but the guidelines and protocols for these areas have been developed and they're listed here. So like I said, the next step for these particular activities is that they will, they have made these recommendations to the Department of Public Health. They are being considered, and the Department of Public Health will issue official guidelines for all these amenities that pertain to the recreation field. And like I mentioned, they're thinking of opening these particular amenities in phase 3, some of them, and then along the site somewhere around July 1st, but we don't have a definite date on these particular reopening plans or when the county will come out with these. Is there any particular questions regarding the reopening plans? Yes, Jason.
Yeah, a couple of quick questions and comments, if I may. Regarding the cleaning between events, activities, classes, etc. You mentioned briefly that I think you said the staff is going to be responsible for cleaning that. And if that's the case, the materials for the cleaning, the personal protective equipment that they need to do that, the materials, the cleaning supplies, is that where are we getting those supplies to protect our staff and also to do the cleaning? And are they going to be, is there a training process or a procedure whereby they learn how to properly clean? Because it's more than just, you know, wiping down the handle of the door. There's a little bit more of a process. I understand just from my own work at school and different things, the sanitizing that goes into cleaning, it's just more intricate, it's more specific, right? So is there a process that this staff is going to be informed on?
Yes, we actually had a training already for another phase of the cooling centers and how staff will clean the facility and the frequency of when it's going to be cleaned. That was provided, the training was provided by our facilities staff that are in charge of cleaning and taking care of other facilities. We do have, the city will be providing all protective gear for staff and all the cleaning and material needed for staff. Well, like I mentioned earlier, we are looking into getting additional PPE equipment for staff, the face shield, the gloves, the mask.
Right.
So that way, when they go around doing the cleaning, they are protected.
Okay.
So that we have doing that. So in each phase, in each particular area, they'll be given specific instructions of what should be cleaned and how often.
Okay. And my other comment on that is regarding our staff now doing this extra cleaning, as well as our maintenance, facilities, custodial staff doing their cleaning, which of course is going to be that much more specific, much more intense, and disinfecting, etc. Suddenly their jobs have become, quite frankly, dangerous, right? In a way that it wasn't before. They're I don't mean this as drastic as it sounds, but I kind of do mean it as important as it should sound. They are literally putting their lives at risk to keep our community healthy, right? And
That's
so what provisions are being put in place by the city, by our city council, or even by the County of Los Angeles to protect our custodial and maintenance staff who are doing this deep cleaning every day, every night, to keep the community clean, healthy while they're enjoying our recreational facilities?
I think the most important aspect is training and having the staff at all levels trained to be aware of their surroundings, being able to the proper solution dilution, the different mix of what should be going, because we got trained maybe about a week and a half ago, more or less. And they're telling us, okay, this is the solution. This is the ratio of water to solution. You should do it. This is how you should spray it. This is how you should wipe it. So it was really emphasizing on the proper techniques of cleaning the area. In addition to that is the proper protective gear that people should be wearing. So we are gonna get those PPEs for staff. The city's gonna make sure that staff that are on that detail, cleaning the facilities, have protective gear and have been totally trained and know exactly what they need to do when they go out and clean the facility. Now, the importance of cleaning and social distancing and all that is also going to be re-emphasized to our instructors or to our participants, to making sure that by abiding by the guidelines, they are reducing the risk of exposure to, family members or to different members of their teams or their participants in their activities. So part of this plan is also to have an educational component that we address to our stakeholders, our coaches, our class instructors, our people who rent our facilities. All this is to emphasize the importance of how to safely use the facility and keep it under the guidelines. Now, there is, we're, like I said, we are developing all these activities and plans. And so that way, when we do reopen, we have the opportunity to educate our participants of the safe and same way to use the facilities in these, this time that we have to be aware about our surroundings.
Right. As long as we're not, discounting those women and men on the front line cleaning for us every evening, and that's really, it's become, hopefully people have noticed, it's a much, much more important job than people have, I think, noticed in the past. And I just want to make sure that those people are taken care of.
Yeah, right now it's relatively easy because there's not, our facilities are not being used.
Right.
But when they start reusing, it's going to be very important that we follow the recommendations and the guidelines that the county puts out. Right. And we have been following the county's guidelines since the COVID-19 started. Yeah. We started following exactly what they were saying, and we will continue following when we start reopening.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Sadie, do you have any questions or comments?
None right now, thank you.
Okay, Julian, I do have a couple of questions and I guess some comments. One of them, I just like to piggyback on Jason with the in regards to the cleaning, and I'd like to see some the hand sanitizer stations at most of our facilities.
Yes.
That's one thing I noticed that wasn't mentioned in here at all. I would love to see some of these hand sanitizer stations at any of the facilities where we have where they're indoors, and that will help minimize the spreading of any virus, within the other folks. The other thing I wanted to touch on, I know we're following the guidelines with the County of Los Angeles. With the recent events that are taking place right now, we won't know if there's going to be a spike in some of these COVID-19 cases for at least another 7 to 14 days, depending on how long these protestings are going to continue. In the event that that cases do start rising and the county still moves forward with opening, because I know that the county is moving forward. I know that we shut down quite a few locations this week. We shut down most of Department of Social Services, mental health, Department of Public Health. A lot of those were shut down, but I know they're moving forward on opening. In the event that cases do rise, to the city of San Fernando, being that we are within the county, do we have to follow those guidelines, or can we pretty much say, you know what, we're going to hold off? The cases they've spiked. We're going to hold off. The city of San Fernando will hold off for at least another 2 weeks. Is that something that we can determine as an incorporated city?
Yes. Yeah. The recommendation and guidelines are recommended, and usually they're sound and we could follow them. But in the event, like you just mentioned, if there is something that San Fernando is experiencing that the rest of the county is not, we will act prudently and close down our activities. Now the city, we do get reports of the cases in the city and how many are day to day, what's happening. So if we do see a spike, I'm pretty sure we will look at it and say, wait a minute, we need to start looking at possibly closing. But yes, the city can act on its own accord and close out the facilities. You did mention about sanitation stations. We did install sanitation stations at all our facilities at the entrance. So when it does open, we are going to have a place where people could sanitize themselves, get the little gel and sanitize them. We're also going to, our plan is to have individuals greet them. We're going to do a real soft opening at the beginning. We're not going to just open the doors and let everybody come in. We're going to do a real soft opening to making sure that we are able to handle the people coming in. For example, at our facilities, in addition to the sanitation stations, we're going to have a sheet of plexiglass to protect the staff who is attending the patron to whatever business they're conducting. That way, there's a physical barrier between the patron and staff. We're going to monitor how many people come in at a time. We're going to allow, again, have the social distancing as people come in. Parks and Recs, we don't get a lot of flushes of people, only like when we have registrations for senior trips or senior dances like that is when we have a big rush of people coming in. But those activities and times will be monitored to make sure that we are practicing the social distancing on that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I only bring that up because, excuse me, I am following all the cases throughout all the cities within the county. And San Fernando being only 2.3 square miles, we have over 220 cases already in the city of San Fernando. I still see people, some of the community, that are not practicing social distancing, or they're not wearing their face mask. And that's a big concern for me, especially when we start reopening.
Yes. No, yeah, all in our plan, we do have instructions if a person is not practicing the guidelines or not, wearing a mask or not staying within 6 feet of everybody, we have the right to refuse service and ask them to leave. And if they don't leave, we call the proper, we'll take the proper measures, calling the police or coast enforcement or whatever it might be to let the persons know that, that's going to happen. They're going to be cited or they're going to be escorted out. But yeah, all the possibilities have been discussed and talked so that we incorporate it into our plan.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I know we could sit here and probably continue with this conversation for at least another hour because, I mean, it's so important right now that I'm still nervous about it. And I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there, but it looks like we're getting ready. We're getting prepared for the soft open. So wonderful. Okay, so we can move on. I don't have the agenda, Julian.
Let me get it up again.
Sure.
Let's see here.
I think the next one was for the budget for the.
Oh, okay. So let me. Okay.
For fiscal year 2020, 2021.
Oh, okay. There we go. Let me share that one then. Okay. Start. This is the budget for our next thing. This is our org chart, and what we've done for the last fiscal year, what our accomplishments were. One, we were awarded a prop grant for Prop 68 grant for the Lane Park Revitalization Project. We implemented the youth diversion program in collaboration with the Pugu Community Services Group. That is the grant that is happening, the youth diversion program at Las Palmas Park. We implemented the Veterans Recognition Banner Program, which was well attended, and now it's in its second phase. We have posted already the banners that will be displayed until November 18th, more or less, around there. We are taking additional applications for the next cycle of when the next year will come out, and people would put those banners up for the next cycle. We have implemented a new online registration program that enables participants to register online, and they have access to our programming registration 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, from the comfort of their own home. So that's something that it hasn't gone live yet because of all our programs got canceled. The plan was to start in April to allow individuals to use it, but since all our programs got canceled, it wasn't made live to the individuals yet. But once we start reopening, this will be again be available to the public. We are continuing to apply for grant funding. We did apply for a new farmers market program. It's called the Farmers Market Promotional Program. To see if we get funding, we're able to start a farmers market here in town. We are targeting the parking lot 8 on Sealis and Brand to be the site of the market. And hopefully they like our project and they'll fund us. So we're just waiting to see what happens with that one. And we continue to promote and foster community engagement to provide free and low-cost classes, workshop activities for seniors and other community members. Those are the goals that happened in 2020. For 2020-21, what we're planning to do is to work with community partners again to look at the cultural programs that we could implement at Rudy Ortega. Like previous years, we've been trying to get some funding or some partners that come in to program that particular park. So we'll continue to do that. will start and implement the Lane Park renovation revitalization project, hire a consultant and a general contractor to build all the renovation projects at the park. We plan to manage the San Fernando Open Streets program, and this is an iffy. I don't want to talk much about it, but this plan was developed before we had this meeting, so I had to turn this in. So that's still in, but that is something that we may postpone. Well, actually, we are going to postpone until next fiscal year due to the COVID-19. We are not going to be able to hold it on the 31st. Metro has allowed postponement of the funds to a different date. So there is a possibility to moving it to next fiscal year, the 21-22 year. We are going to continue to research the funding to acquire land for a community garden. The second funding cycle of Prop 68 is a great candidate for to acquire land. So we are looking at and researching vacant lots around the city to see what is available. Once we find something that is of interest and we could hold a community garden, we'll approach the owner and seeing if if they're interested in selling. So that's something that we're looking at and to establish a program there. We continue to develop collaborations to enhance the programs and services offered to the community. We're always looking for new partners and new collaborators to provide programs and services for a program. So that's always an ongoing program. We are going to redesign the apartment brochure to be more accessible online for the patrons. Since we are moving to an online registration system, the brochure will also go online. So that way, our plan is to have people be able to open our brochure, look at something they like, click on a link and go directly to the registration page of that activity. So that's something we're working on that we will be able to provide once we're able to do all the different type of programming. And our last goal is to develop a volunteer-based group to implement the community theater program. And that is ongoing, but hopefully by this next fiscal year, excuse me, that we will have a group in place to implement a community theater program. Now there is some budget highlights or some impact of COVID-19 that happened over the last 3.5 months. Now, the Safe at Home order really stifled our programming. It didn't allow us to do anything. And for most of our programming, we plan at least 3 months ahead of what is going to happen, what's going on. We our big major citywide special events like the Christmas lighting, the summer concerts, the movies in the park. We're planning way ahead, so we know we have what the movie is. We have commitment from our bands and so forth. So not being able to plan kind of like stopped us from really doing everything. So a lot of our programming for the summer has been canceled. So that is one of the major effects that COVID-19 had on our particular staffing. Along with that, with the stay-at-home order, a lot of people were not able to come out and spend their money. The city is heavily dependent on revenue tax, and when people purchase, they get taxed and so forth. Then it comes back. So due to the lack of revenue coming in, or the projected revenue fell drastically. For next fiscal year, we're reducing our operation and maintenance budget by 10%, or $12,890. How this impacts our department is that we'll be reducing staff training. We won't have as much staff going to different trainings. We're going to limit the number of staff that can attend professional meetings, limit subscription and membership to professional organizations, limit department supplies, reduce staff uniforms, and reduce the number of citywide special events. So we haven't really targeted which those special events are going to be limited. We are, but all the other activities we are definitely going to reduce or limit in that. So that, in a nutshell, is the budget for the 2020-21. I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Commissioner Jason, you have any questions or comments?
Yeah. Regarding two quickly, regarding the community garden, is that something we have staff to maintain? Have we already hired them? Is that a position we're opening up to? We're looking for someone to do. Do we need, you know, there a professional gardener? Or is it a spot that we'd open up and then you would rent out sections as a member of the community and maintain your own 4x4 square or whatever?
That's correct. A community garden, how it works is that you do have a staffer or a volunteer that manages the site. Okay. Ideally is to have, in these times, to have a volunteer be able to manage it. They would be, the lot would be sectioned off to different plots, and participants would pay a fee to participate in the program. There would be, it's kind of like a membership where all the gardeners are a part of a group. There would be bylaws and rules and regulations for the gardeners, but there would be a group within themselves. They would police themselves in regarding to the you know, what's grown, maintaining their garden, and so forth. The staff or volunteer would handle any issues of dispute. If a gardener is not keeping their plot up to date, then, you know, they'll be given warnings. They would ask you to do it, and then eventually they would have to, you know, lose the right to use the garden. So yeah, that is, it's kind of like building a little community of people who garden. And
that's great.
But the most important part is securing the land. Once we have a land, then we could move forward and build the garden.
Very cool. All right. Second thing, regarding the Dia de los Muertos 5K and celebration, might that be something, rather than just postponing it, is it a possibility to turn it into a virtual 5K where we can still celebrate with the community? We can still celebrate Dia de los Muertos, Halloween, all of the things that we celebrate, and generate maybe even a little, you still have to pay into it to join it, etc. I run regularly, and all the races that I planned this summer have all gone virtual. We're still running them.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm currently running laps around my house, but nonetheless, it's still a way to celebrate whatever you're going to honor in that particular race. And in this case, our community, this celebration, it's become such an important part of our autumn community gathering. You know what I mean? And I think if it's possible, it might be a way to still generate a little community spirit. So throwing that out.
We definitely could do something virtual to maintain the momentum of the activity in the program. The idea, I'll definitely research that particular, what it takes to do a virtual run or 5K or do that. Yes, I think we definitely do that. We are looking at, what just jogged my memory right now regarding virtual programming. We are looking at as many virtual programs we can do. We are currently doing some virtual programming for social activities for our senior program. We do have virtual exercise activities to let people know that, hey, we are still here. You could participate, be part of the city by participating in these programs. So if there's restrictions still limit mass gatherings, we could definitely look at how we could develop a virtual 5K.
Right. There's a number of different virtual running organizations and different things. And I don't know if you need to go through one of those or just organize it yourself. Oftentimes it becomes an honor system, reporting your time to a certain website, or uploading a picture of yourself having run with your medal. You mail out everyone's T-shirt or medal, or they come and pick it up or something. There's a lot of options. I don't need to. We can talk offline about some of my experiences. I'm happy to share or help out in any way I can.
Definitely.
I like the idea of the community coming together to do something. I think it can be a morale booster in the fall when, I don't know, we all need some positivity. So I think something that's positive could be a real asset.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Any alternative that keeps the community engaged, I'll definitely look at and research and we could do. Any other?
Commissioner Sadie, do you have any comments or questions?
No questions, but maybe even for the 5K run to promote the Dia de los Muertos, maybe kind of have the communities do their altars outside in front of their house or wherever their living spaces. That way, and even kind of get the businesses around their area to also kind of do their own altars, just so that we all kind of, how Jason was saying, get the community excited about something. And I'm sure that there's going to be families that do it and will be excited to do it and participate.
Okay, great.
What a great idea.
That suggestion is great.
I just got a comment with the budget the way what it is today. Have we had any layoffs with any of the Parks and Rec staff?
No, we have not laid off any staff. Unfortunately, our part-time staffers have not been able to work because of all our programming has been closed. Usually we have about maybe 6 to 8 staffers working weekly at rentals or at special events or any type of activities they would be working. But due to everything being closed, none of them have been worked. We do have some special assignments that they have come and worked for, like when we had the food giveaway, the city participated in those. We had 3 food giveaways and we had staff, part-time staff work that. Or if any special assignment comes up, we ask our part-time staffers to come in to do that. So any opportunity we have to give them hours, we let them know about it. But no full-time staff has been asked to give a furlough or anything like that.
Yeah, like I said, my only concern is I know that we're all ready for these activities within the city, but if there's activities that the city has to put money for, I'd rather not see them move forward at this time, just so we can make sure that we keep our staff employed. I know I don't want to be the downer on this, but I think it's more important to see that our staff is still working.
That's a great point. Thank you, Commissioner Ponce, for bringing that up. That's an excellent point.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I'm not sure what I wasn't sure what the
Let me
what was
open
that?
it up again. Okay, let me share that. Okay.
I have that info in front of me.
Okay, so there it is up again.
Okay,
well, we did talk about our virtual programming slightly. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, once we were told that we had to close and no activities were going to happen, we staff were very instrumental in providing virtual program. We have staff who actually filmed our instructors. They went through a series of exercise routines. They edited it, they put sound to it, they put music, put graphics, and now it's up on the website. If you have a chance, please look at these videos. These were done by our staff people. They look very professional, and we just know the quality of employees that we have, that they move through. They have a lot of talents. So we're very pleased with that. So we are looking at other potential virtual programming that we do. Like I mentioned, also Marisol is doing virtual social interaction. She has bingo. She has like a talk or a tea. They play trivia games, and it's real engaging for those individuals that have been stuck at home for the last 2.5 months. So she's doing that, I think every Wednesday, right, Linda? Somewhere around there?
So our next lunchtime trivia is going to be June the 12th at 12 noon. Then there's going to be Loteria on June 17th at 11 a.m. And I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of our seniors that are not that familiar with Facebook and, you know, virtual programs. A lot of them are trying it for the first time. And so I think it's going to be a good thing.
Okay. Yeah, we're really excited. And that idea about having a virtual K is just great, because that's, you know, like, we were like, oh, well, how are we going to do this? How are we going to plan this? And with the restrictions, but now this is great. This is something that we could definitely look into it. Thank you. Then I did mention also for the next one, I'll just move on, the farmers market grant application. We did apply to that particular program. It was, I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, that we turned it in, and we're just going to wait and hope and see that they like our program and fund us.
Wonderful. Should we just move on? Does anybody have any questions? Jason?
None. Thank you.
Sadie?
I do have a question. For the virtual programming, how are they being promoted? Is it just through social media?
Yes, we do have social media. We posted on the city website, but also we have the constant contact link that we've been sending people, letting them know about our particular program. So yes, that's how it's being promoted.
And for families that, well, I guess that they don't have the like internet Wi-Fi connections or devices, is anything being done like for seniors? I was thinking about.
Unfortunately, no. We do recommend, if they don't have a computer or access to Wi-Fi, that they could go to the public library and move and go in there. Unfortunately, there's no place to post signs except against our doors. They're not open to the public. So if people happen to walk by and see our posts on the door, then they get to know about it. We also have a weekly safety or well check, where we call seniors who ask to be called, and let them know that to let their friends know about this particular program so that they could participate in it. So we're trying to get the word out in that fashion. Unfortunately, not having able to post flyers out there now that businesses are opening up, I think it's a good idea that we could possibly make posters and put them on at the business storefronts.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on to, are we done with the farmer market?
Yes.
Okay, then we can move on to new department heads.
Yes, I'm happy to announce that we have 2 department heads that recently joined the city. One is Julia Fritz, who is our new city clerk. She comes from Silmar, I believe. She started, I think she has 4 weeks, no, 3 weeks now as a department head. And so she is our new city clerk. Our second one is, God, I forget his name, Matt Gardner. No, I'm sorry, escapes me. I'll find his name right now, let him know. But he's our new department head for Public Works.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he
name is
doesn't start until next week, I believe. He had to finish up his budgeting and commitment he made to the city. And he comes from Santa Clarita. And I'm trying to find his name. I apologize for that. I had it and it slipped my
No worries, Julian. That's okay.
Okay.
It'll
So,
be posted somewhere. We'll get the name.
all right.
Okay. I believe that. So let's move from new business.
Okay.
Oh, there's business. I didn't
Now
see that.
business. So the last time we spoke, we were thinking of doing a community meeting to get people interested in the community theater program. We did have volunteers and people who were interested in the program, and we were trying to finalize a date when we could hold a meeting to do that. But I think prior to that, we're looking at trying to find a target date to do a brief kind of activity. But since COVID-19, everything stopped.
Right.
So we could definitely hold a community meeting now virtually by the Zoom meeting. So we could definitely look at seeing how we could move forward with that. Jason.
Well, yeah. So on that, we did I mute myself? No, I didn't. Okay, sorry. When we last spoke, Julian, before our March meeting, which had to be postponed, obviously, in April and May, our goal was to come to that next commission meeting, ask the commission to make a motion to pass, so that we bring this to the city council for official approval to move forward. So we need a vote here to officially approve. And Julian, I don't have the exact language. I know you do, but to approve moving forward with a community meeting so that at the next city council meeting, we get it on that agenda and it gets approved by the city council. Once approved by the city council, we can go ahead with the community meeting. Initially, our community meeting was scheduled for the end of April. It was meant to be simply a call out to everyone to say, hey, if you're interested in helping out with this, let's come and talk. Let's come and get ideas and form a community committee that we could then move forward with making plans for a presentation over maybe 4th of July weekend, and then maybe even at the celebration in the fall, and then a play perhaps in November, December. Clearly, all of that has changed because of the current, stay-at-home status. Now, that being said, I think it would be prudent of us as a commission to go forward and make a motion and vote, and if approved, go to our city council to make the approval so that then our committee, Sadie and Julie and myself and our arts commissioners, that we get together and plan. Maybe we do host a Zoom community meeting. Maybe we do host a meeting outside with specific spots. I've seen in other communities, I've been looking at areas, New York, for example, even a community theater in Sacramento and a couple of other places around the country where they've designated spots in an open area in a park with a 5 to 6 foot circle where we get each family or each individual in that spot to have an outdoor meeting. These are just spitballing ideas, which we can talk more specifically at our ad hoc meeting. But if it's all right, I would like, if you can give me the specific language we wrote up, Julian, to make a motion to accept this community theater program as a part of our Parks, Wellness, and Recreation Commission, to then go forward to the City Council, seek approval for establishing the community theater as part of the Parks, Wellness, Recreation Commission, so that we can go forward with our community meeting. Does that all make sense? I said a lot of words.
Yes.
It did.
I would say we could, you could make a motion to recommend that the Park, Wellness, and Recreation Commission is establish a community theater working group. And then from there, you know, because you don't want to make the commission, I mean, the community theater an aspect of the commission. You want it to be a project, not necessarily an aspect of the commission. So you just want to make it like an activity or project that the commission will work on. That being said, I know the city council at their last meeting did make a recommendation to move forward with it. So I'm pretty sure they would approve a working group.
I think we would have the support. I'm not worried about that. We have to, you know, Robert's Rules of Orders, right? We've got to go through the procedure. So
Okay.
maybe I'll make the motion. I make a motion. I move that our Parks, Wellness, Recreation Commission formed the Community Theater Working Group and Project, and that we go to the City Council seeking approval for that project officially at the next City Council meeting.
I second the motion.
And for the record, if I may do the roll call. Commissioner Joe Ponce?
Here.
Would that be a yes?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I would like to have the other two commissioners here, but we do have a quorum here, and I know we can move it forward. So I'm going to vote yes.
Okay. So just for the record, Commissioner Hayes did make the motion for this item, and Commissioner Navarro seconded that motion, and Commissioner Ponce is a yes.
Yes. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
We don't need to do a roll call, do we?
Well, that would suffice.
That would suffice. Okay. Thank you.
Great. So if it's all right, then Julian, if you would please get that on the next City Council meeting agenda, that they discuss, approve, whatever they have to do their job, and then we'll meet. We'll schedule an ad hoc meeting so that we can schedule what that looks like. And Commissioner Ponce, we'll certainly, once we figure out what that is, we'll email you and the other commissioners so that you know what that is and what that looks like, so we can then discuss it at our next meeting to make sure
Perfect.
that we're all on the same page. I agree with that. I appreciate you bringing that up. I think it's important that all five of us know what's going on.
Okay, let's go ahead and move forward. We can continue on continued business. Item number 9, Las Palmas Park renovations.
Okay, this has been a project that has been dragging a little bit, but we are very close to signing the contract and moving forward with this particular project. You know, there was a lot of delays due to the shutting down and everything, but it looks like a timeline now is starting probably in mid-July for the project renovation on there. So just a reminder, the renovation of Las Palmas will include the repainting of the banquet room, the kitchen, adding new flooring, to both the kitchen and banquet room, repainting the lobby area, putting a safety security glass on the reception desk, adding automatic door openers at all the, well, not all, but the entrance, the main entrance, the entrance to the patio, and to the 2 restrooms in the patio. So that way seniors will have easy access to opening the doors and easy access to the restrooms. That way they won't need assistance. If they're on a walker or in a wheelchair, they could do it themselves. They don't necessarily have to have someone accompanying them to go to the restrooms to open the doors for them. So that project is moving forward. We haven't signed the contract yet, but I anticipate to have that signed within the next couple of weeks. And then once that happens, we would move forward to starting the project. Any particular questions?
No questions
I'm
from
sorry,
me.
I was on mute. I'm sorry. Commissioner Jason, you have any questions or comments? I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. Not at this time. Thanks.
Okay, Commissioner Sadie, any questions or comments?
No, not right now.
The only question that I have, Julian, is didn't we have those doors already installed for the restrooms at Las Palmas Park where they opened up automatically?
No. At the last, to my recollection, the last renovation with automatic doors was to Recreation Park. Las Palmas did not have that. I know the last one they did was back in 2004, did not include automatic door openers.
Okay, the other question that I had with the renovation going on Las Palmas, was there any talk about any lighting? I think we brought that up several times in the past.
Lighting for outside?
Lighting for outside by the parking lot, by the end of the parking over by the backfield.
Yes.
It's still pretty dark back there.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's a lot of unwanted activity going on back there.
Yeah, lighting is a very expensive project, and that was part of our Prop 68 grant application for Las Palmas Park. Unfortunately, it was not funded, but like I said, there's other funding cycles, other revenue streams that we could look at to start looking at a lighting project.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. Let's move on to item number 10, the Youth Investment Grant Program.
Yes, this program has already, it's been going on, unfortunately, like all our programs, it had to stop, but they continue doing their program virtually, contacting their students and doing activities and programs. And they actually had a ceremony where the first cohort of these young individuals graduated, per se, you might say, and went on and they completed the first time session. They're starting to do a next session pretty soon. They're recruiting more individuals. The same individuals could reapply, but they're always trying to look for other individuals to participate in the program. So the program is moving forward. It's going steadily, and hopefully we will be able to grow the program with more individuals participating once we have a free access and participation. Now, during the summer, they're looking at starting the program again under the guidelines again of the LA County Health Department guidelines to reopening programs. So I've been in contact with them, letting them know about the guidelines and the potential date when they would be allowed to come back, and they're really excited about restarting that typical program. So other than that, I think it's just it was a great partnership, a good program for the city and for the surrounding youth.
I agree. Any questions, Commissioner Jason?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Sadie, any questions or comments?
No, none.
Okay. and I have none. Um, on the next item, number 11 for the open street events, I think we've talked about that already, Jillian. I don't think we're going to be moving forward with that this year. So can we just
Definitely.
table that because I mean there isn't much to talk about that right now.
All right, you're right.
I know it's been canceled. We're not going to move forward with it this year.
All right.
So if we can go to next on staff communication.
Okay. Other than that, I don't have any other staff information. Linda, do you have anything you would like to add?
Just to add on to the virtual programming that we have for our seniors, our program specialist, Marisol Diaz, has been working very diligently to get things out for our seniors. We have been doing the wellness calls like you mentioned, Julian, and most of the time what we're getting back from them is that they are very lonely. They are anxious to come back, and you know, calls can take a lot of time because I think they just want somebody to reach out to. So I'm glad that we're doing that. So now that we have these things that are, these activities that are virtual, I think it's also a good learning tool for seniors to start to get more familiar with their smartphones and Facebook and things like that. In addition to the lunchtime trivia and loteria, there today, in fact, there was a virtual like an activity kind of for people that like to go on vacation and go on trips because seniors love to do that. And today's topic was on the coast of the state of Maine. So it was an interactive virtual kind of like a tour, and that was held today. And then there's also going to be some additional webinars with from some of our partners regarding healthcare and, you know, things that should be helpful. So, you know, all that can be found on our city website. And for those people that don't, or, you know, are not comfortable on the website, like our seniors, we do reach out to them and call them and try to get their children or, you know, their grandkids to help them out with that.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I do like the virtual piece of it because I think that's going to be a big part of all of us going forward. Having these virtual meetings and so forth. So I know we're doing that with the county right now. That's all we're doing is there's no meetings going on. It's all virtual. So it'd be nice if we could get our seniors, get them more familiar with their smartphones so they can participate. I think that would be a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah.
So Commissioner Jason, you have any, I'm sorry, I took the floor on this.
I'm actually gonna piggyback on what you said. I think it'd be really great if part of our outreach, especially to our seniors, if not their smartphones, if we had computers with a little bit bigger screen, a little bit easier to see. You know, there are so many virtual sort of tours, traveling. Myself, I visited the Winchester House last week online, which was awesome. You know, I mean, you know, I went to the Louvre 2 weeks ago in Paris. You know what I mean? And a lot of this is free or very inexpensive. And so if there is a way that we could reach out to our seniors and support more technology skills, and some of them are just basic navigating a mouse, which is often harder with some of our seniors, given small motor function, different things like that. Those are other challenges that, I mean, I'm not a physical therapist or anything like that, but it's just things to consider. But I like your idea. If there's, Joe, if there's a way to do that, to support somehow, and then of course you've got to get the technology. You know, we're seeing this with a lot of our students in schools. A lot of them don't even have the Wi-Fi, or, you know, they're be given a computer by the school, but they don't have Wi-Fi at home, so it doesn't matter. The computer's useless, right, as far as, you know, that kind of thing. So I think there's a larger issue there that I think the city could address. And I think we might even have an opportunity moving forward as the Parks, Wellness, and Recreation Commission to even be a part of that if there was a way at the parks to offer free training, or a small cadre of individuals that can go to nursing homes or residential facilities to offer that training. If there's a way to do something like that, just as a means of helping some of that loneliness and isolation.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Jason. Commissioner Sadie, you have any questions or comments?
No, not right now. I think that's a really good idea to offer some type of training for those individuals that don't know how to use the like Zoom, so that they could join the meetings when they do the loteria nights or something like that. So I think that's a good idea to offer some type of training, whether it's in person or through a phone call. Because I know when I had to help some of my parents, I had to call them and walk them through step by step as they were looking at their screen, like walk them through every single step that we had to do to get them where the kids need to be. So maybe that's something our staff can do also.
Yeah, you know, the tech was teaching seniors how to use the tech, their cell phone, tablet, and so forth, was going to be an aspect or a seminar with our senior expo that unfortunately was canceled, but that was one thing that we were targeting to do. I definitely like the idea of possibly having like a team or two for our rec leaders who possibly may be able to, you know, do that. So I'll definitely look into see how we could develop a program that would teach, that provide this teaching, tutoring type thing with tech.
Thank you, Julian. I have no questions or comments. I guess we can move forward with the commissioner's comments. Commissioner Jason, do you have any comments you want to elaborate on?
I'll just close with, I'm glad that we're back in meeting and we're meeting virtually, and I hope that more of the community can log in and see.
Right.
I do want to wish our LGBTQ+ community very happy Pride Month. No festivities have gone by the wayside because of COVID, but nonetheless, there's still support within the community. And I want to make sure that our larger LGBTQ+ as well as allies know they're supported. And I also want to thank Mayor Fajardo and his comments and coming out, making sure that our communities of color and our broader community of San Fernando and LA County know that they are supported. It's very important to make the statement Black Lives Matter. And the more we come together and support one another, then I think we can see real positive change. So I'm very happy to be a part of a city government that is actively looking to positively impact our community. So thank you, commissioners, for being a part of that with me, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Commissioner Jason. Commissioner Sadie, do you have any questions or do you have any comments that you'd like to make?
I'm glad that we got to see each other again. It's been a long time, so it's very nice seeing everybody.
Yeah, thank you for that. The only comment I have is it is wonderful to have these meetings. I'm glad that we're doing it. I don't know if we're going to continue doing these virtual meetings, but it does make it easier. And like I said, it's good to see everyone, Linda, all the commissioners, Julian. The only other thing I have to say is please stay safe out there. And that goes for the entire community. So we have nothing. I'd like to put a motion to, is there anything else, Julian, on there on the?
We'll continue our virtual commission meeting. So if you do have anything that you'd like to put on the agenda, please let me or Linda know, and we'll definitely put it on the agenda. We again, thank you. I apologize for forgetting our department head's name.
Oh, no worries, no worries. That's okay.
And
we'll eventually get it.
Yeah, well, we interviewed you a long time ago. I forgot. Yeah. So I'll send his name to you so you guys at least know who.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next meeting is July the 14th, 2020. Likewise, stay safe out there.
Thank you. Wear your mask, folks.
Thank you. Exactly.
Good to see you all.
Where's my mask? I'm looking for mine right now. Anyway, it's here some, oh, here it is.
There you go. Hey, look at that.
That's a nice one.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll put a motion in to adjourn the meeting. It's 8:01. Do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
She got it.
Okay, so we'll adjourn at 8:01.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Next time.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.